Good morning, everybody.
So excited for this week, guys. I forgot how much I really love comics. So researching for this class was so much fun, and I'm so excited to be able to create my own comic. Who else is excited to create their own comic? I am! That's awesome. Yay! I'm so glad you guys are excited. Yeah, by the end of this week, you are going to have your very own comic, and professionally printed and bound for you, so you guys will be able to show all your friends the comic you created, which is so cool. So today we're going to start very basic, and then each day we're going to add a little bit more. So if you start to get a little overwhelmed, you have to create a whole comic, don't get overwhelmed. I'm going to walk you all the way through it, and we're going to do it together, and it's going to be just lots of fun. Okay, the whole point of this class is just to have fun. All right, so a comic strip is just like telling a story, and it's there to entertain, and a lot of times it's funny, or sometimes it can be you know, raising awareness about a situation like endangered animals or something, or it could be action-packed superheroes and villains. So your comic can be really about anything, but the base of it is it's a story. So we're going to start with that story part and learn how to write a good story, because that's really the thing that's going to make your comic fun to read, is if it's a good story. Okay, so usually a good story has a plot, which are like the events, the things that happen in the story that move it along. So usually you'll have, like, it kind of looks like a mountain when you look at your story. In the beginning, you're kind of introducing your characters and letting everyone know where you're at. So you have characters and a setting. So the setting is a time and a place where your story takes place. And then towards the middle of the story, you start to build and build, and there's like a climax in the story, like the big events that happen that really draw your reader in, okay? And there might be a problem that you have to solve. And then towards the end of the story, like the action kind of dies down and you solve the problem, and everyone's happy. You can have a good ending or whatever kind of ending you want. So we're going to learn the parts of doing that today, okay? So there's a lot of brainstorming that happens before you write a story. So the first thing we're going to do is create a character, because you can't have a story without a character, right? So your character is like the focus of your story. Your story is going to revolve around this character, okay? So you can have a character that's human. It could be a fierce lion, or it could be like a toaster. I know a story that's about a toaster. Have you ever seen that little kids movie? It's a very old one, so I'd be surprised if any of you guys know it. But so we can start to just write down ideas of characters we have in mind that maybe we want our story to be about. Okay, so on your paper in your packet, there's like this page right here, and this is here for you to be able to just write and brainstorm ideas. Get that page out. So who has an idea for a character already? Like coming into this class, were you thinking about it?
Finished an entire character design. I have like a bunch.
Awesome. That's so cool. Could you tell us about your character?
This is Chester.
They're awesome. So awesome. So Chester is a human. So that's great. I kind of was thinking, I kind of want to create a character that's just a balloon, like that has feelings and emotions.
I already have this. I have a turnip. This is Chester's
Oh,
best
there you
friend.
go.
Turnip.
His little sidekick. That's perfect. We're going to talk about that too. So if you're intimidated by having to draw something that's complicated like a human, you can really just have like a balloon as your character or something simple. Okay? It doesn't have to be complicated. Okay, does everyone have some ideas for their character? Did you guys write some down? I really like giraffes. Maybe giraffe with a good character. Think of some of your favorite stories and what kind of characters do they have? Like, what kind of stories do you like? And that can be a point of inspiration for you. We really like these books about a penguin. He's really cute and nice.
You said that you do a character in the ice cream.
They have like maybe like a few good ideas. Sure. Okay.
My character is gonna be like an ice cream scoop and then it gets melted.
An ice cream cone? Oh, I love it. That's such a good idea, Madeline.
Let me write that.
Yeah, write it down. And maybe you can think of ideas for names too. Like maybe your friends' names or names you like.
Mm.
Could even be your name.
Ice cream. And what's your name? I'm gonna make it with a lot of ice cream. So
I really like naming animals a food name. Like we had a pet lizard that was, we called him Donut. Donut the lizard. And I think that's really cute to name animals a food name. Okay, so once you get a few ideas, you can like maybe circle your favorite ones. Okay.
okay.
All right. Now, knowing our character might give us some ideas for where the story is going to take place.
Good morning, Krista. Tell your ideas about the coronavirus.
Do you have a question, Archie?
No, Sawyer was thinking about doing the coronavirus, like the little, circle with all the that could be some kind of evil villain or a masked person where they throw masks on people.
Yeah, for sure. That could be a great character, especially right now. You have lots of ideas, and that would be easier to draw too.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
We also thought about Elijah McClain's violin.
Yeah.
That's the other one, sort of. And then what was the Donald Trump?
Write down some describing words for your character, like if they're violent or jolly or happy or sad all the time. So a lot of characters have words that define them, like their personality. So yeah, what kind of personality will your ice cream have, Madeline?
Huh?
What kind of personality will your ice cream cone have?
Happy.
Happy.
Happy or excited?
and excited. What about Chester? Nick, what kind of personality does Chester have? This is a hard one, huh? You have to kind of think. Put yourself in your character's shoes.
I know that this is probably, none of you guys probably know what I'm talking about, but there was this funny cartoon that you could watch online called Homestar Runner, like in the 90s and early 2000s. And the lead character, like the hero, Homestar Runner, he was really dumb. Like just really ditzy, you know what I'm saying? He pronounced words wrong all the time. Really funny. And then there were like a few other main characters, like Homestar Runner's girlfriend. She was like a real like hippy dippy kind of a girl. And then the villain was a character named Strong Mad, who was always mad all the time, but like in a funny way. And then he had a brother named Strong Sad, who was always sad all the time. So, but also in a funny way. Like good things would happen to Strong Sad and he would just be sad about it. So, I think about those characters a lot, like how the dynamics of really extreme kind of like emotions can make for some really funny interactions. So that's something to think about, like to just give your characters like a main emotion. Like what are they all the time? Are they grumpy like 7 dwarves? Are they sleepy?
Happy.
I think of like Pooh Bear, and Eeyore's always
Right. Yeah.
depressed.
Yeah. And
And then
Tigger's
Tigger's always like jumping all over the place, high energy, like, and
yeah, we all have that
the
friend
warrior.
or that person in our life who never seems to run out of energy, and you're like, oh my god, oh, please take a chill pill. I think I might be
Nick.
Kristen,
like,
Archie just came up with a good one. Archie wants to be Captain Casual.
oh yeah, Captain Casual. Yeah,
He is like a, he
like
is,
straight out of a comic book.
he is, he would be great. Great character.
He would love that, Archie, if you made him the hero in your story.
Yeah, his zooms and stuff. Yeah, Captain Casual.
Yeah,
Does.
yeah. He's like the art wielding superhero, Captain Casual.
Super strong. He would be so happy if he was a comic.
He's gonna dig it. Oh my gosh, he's gonna dig it so much.
And his sidekick, his human sidekick, and his dog sidekick.
Dog sidekick? What's the dog's name, Archie?
His dog's name is Captain. He's not.
No, Captain Casual.
Captain Canaan?
Wait, Captain what?
No, it's King Courageous and
Captain Canaan. Yeah.
I already love it. The screenplay. Let's fast track this one.
Yeah. Chris is gonna get on it.
Good. Okay, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
A lot of rainbow colors and
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and start making up the merchandise.
Yeah.
No, we can just that. We can just do that next week in printmaking class.
There you go.
All over. And skateboards everywhere.
That's good.
And Captain Casual, you know how he, and you know what else we could do with some of the people from the like Beverly Hall band, remember the one that got on our thing, that guy? Yeah.
Okay, so once you kind of get an idea of your character, it might be here to figure out a setting, and a setting is like a time and a place. Like I gave you a couple examples, like summer on the beach in the middle of the day. That might be a great setting for your ice cream cone, Madeline. Or midnight on Halloween in a haunted castle. So this is where your story is going to take place. It's going to give some context for your readers to know where they are and what's happening. Okay, and it kind of creates a mood.
I have the perfect idea.
Yeah, what's your idea, Nick?
My story takes place in Idaho in 1835.
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
I just said something random.
Well, see, that's the great thing. Sometimes when we want to create a story in like a didn't live in, you might have to do a little research, and you can go online and be like, what happened in 1935? And you could figure that out, and that could be part of the story. Okay, so that's really great. A lot of major authors right now. I just a book about World War II, and they had to go back and research stories to be able to write that book. That's awesome. We want to do that.
I can't find something in the big toilet because like I want to watch them go down the toilet.
So I think my setting is going to be at a birthday party at a park in the spring.
Mine is gonna be at the beach.
You're going to be at the beach. I love it.
Got ice cream, and then they went to the beach, and then they got it melted. Then they tried to get another one.
Yeah, maybe your ice cream cone wants to get in the water so bad to cool down because it's so hot.
Yep.
Awesome. Maybe, oops, I went away. Maybe she gets sand on her, and then when they try to eat her, it's like all gritty and green.
Oh
Yeah, there's all kinds of fun things. Okay. So once you kind of get like an idea for your character and the setting,
the name, how they, their,
the personality.
yeah, the personality and setting.
Yes. You can kind of start to build a little bit of a story. You guys can kind of see how you're starting to get ideas of like what could happen in your story. Okay. So I wrote a sentence in your booklet that says, my character wants, so what does your character want? And then but, and that's the problem, okay? So, and then the so is kind of like how you resolve it. So here's an example. Like Lulu the mouse wants to fly to the moon, but she doesn't have a rocket ship. So she makes one out of cardboard instead. Okay, and that can be your whole story. So the beginning is Lulu the mouse, and you kind of like introduce like the climax. And then at the peak of the story, there might be a climax of like, she really wants to go to the moon, but she doesn't have a rocket ship. So she figures out a way, and then you kind of resolve that problem. Okay, so maybe fill in that blank, those blanks with your character.
Okay.
And something else, your story doesn't have to be realistic. So like in your story, Madeline, your ice cream cone could just never melt. even though we know that's what happens to ice cream cones, it just is always there. So that could be an idea. Like my balloon, I don't think it's ever going to get popped because I want to make lots of stories with my balloon. So I think my balloon is just going to be an eternal balloon. It's never going to run out of air or never going to pop. Okay. So that could be something you consider too, is your story doesn't have to be realistic. Kind of like animals can talk in stories, but we don't find a problem with that because we know it's a story, right? Like, I love this comic. I don't know if you guys got to read some of these. This comic with peanuts. So the dog wanted to eat all the cookies. Dogs don't eat cookies, but in this story, they do. And donuts. Loves donuts. And I love Garfield as a character. He was always like, had like not the best of attitude, kind of pessimistic, you know, kind of like a cat, just wanted everyone to serve him and do things for him, but he wasn't very thoughtful of others. Okay, everyone kind of have a sentence written out, like what the problem is going to be in your story and how you're going to resolve it.
Storm
I
is the
can't
problem.
really think of a problem.
Okay, so what does Chester want in your story?
I don't know. I don't have something for that.
Okay, maybe
There's no
does he have a friend?
Oh, he has a gigantic turnip. I think he's okay.
Okay, does he want a toy?
Oh,
Or-
I don't. That's the problem. There is no want in what I'm trying to think of.
So where's
When I'm already thinking of storylines for some of my characters, I really kind of skip a want.
Okay. So where's your story taking place, Nick?
I still don't have an idea for that.
Okay. So maybe go back to the setting, and that might help you figure out what might happen in the story. So having a clear setting, like a very specific place and time. And with your 1835 in Idaho, that could be anywhere. So maybe narrow it down a little bit more. Maybe you could be at a restaurant or in your house or at a friend's house or on a train. Maybe you think of something more specific in that time.
My story is about a dog and a boy, and the boy's name is Max, and his dog Harper, and Charlie is a superhero, and they're like in a city. He wants his dog to talk, but he did. So he was excited and happy.
Awesome! That sounds great. So good. So you got a setting, a character, what that character wants, and how they get it. Awesome. Sounds great. Okay. So these are kind of going to be your beginning, middle, and end. So my setting is at a birthday party in the park in the spring. And my character's a balloon, Jello the balloon, I decided. So Jello the balloon wants to smell all the beautiful flowers in the park, but he's tied to the party table, right? So that's the problem. So he works his way loose so he can float over and smell them. And I might have like a little surprise or something, like a little twist ending. So we'll figure that out as we go. And that's always fun to have a little twist at the end. Okay. All right, so that's going to be your beginning and middle and end. So that first line, my character wants, will kind of be the beginning of your story. But that part will be kind of the middle, and then so that will be at the end. So today we're going to work on just doing a 3-frame comic strip, just to kind of get the idea. Okay, so these are examples of 3-frame comic strips. And as you can see, you don't have to have a whole lot of talking. A lot of, so comic strips are really, or graphic novels are really special in the way that the pictures helps tell the story too, not just the words. So you can see that Garfield here is licking himself. In this frame, he's still licking himself. And then in this frame, he's like, I hate laundry day. Okay, so it's kind of funny. Like, in this one, he's like super excited. Welcome to Garfield's really excellent bedtime stories. And this one's Once Upon a Time. And then he falls asleep. So it can be a really funny story just in 3 frames. Okay, so maybe think of like what your character might say, what your character might be doing in each of those frames. And actually, I keep calling it frames, but that's not the correct word for it. These little boxes are called panels. So, and if you've noticed, there's like a space between each panel and a comic strip, and that's called a gutter. And a gutter is like really important. I didn't realize how important a gutter was in a comic strip, but a gutter kind of represents the time that passes in between each panel. So you might see something happen in the first panel, and then your character might be doing something completely different over here. And we mentally connect the two. This gutter is kind of like all the things that happen in between these 2 scenes. Okay, so you can use your gutter that way. Like, you don't have to show every detail of everything your character does. Like if I was doing my Lulu the mouse, she might be thinking of the moon right here. And then right here, she might be trying to find, like, I don't know, realizing she doesn't have a rocket ship. And then here, it could be that she's sitting in her cardboard rocket ship. But we don't get to see her making the rocket ship. We just see her sitting in it. And so our mind automatically connects that, oh, she made that. Okay? So a gutter can be really great to kind of fill in those gaps of your story. Okay, so to make your comic strip, you're just going to use your ruler. And I like to line up my ruler with something else that's great. So maybe on the top of your page.
What's your question, Crocker?
Oh yeah.
Are we going to do the comic books today?
Yeah, so we're going to make a short one. We're going to make what's called the comic strip today, just to kind of get a feel for it, okay? So we're just doing a short one, but it's going to kind of help us start our main comic book. Okay, so you can continue this idea or expound on this idea for tomorrow and the rest of the week, or you can completely start over if you don't like your idea, okay? Okay, so to draw a comic strip, I'm just gonna set my ruler on my paper, and I kind of use this little dotted line on my paper to line my ruler up with, so that I know my ruler straight. Okay, and whenever I use my ruler, I have to make sure I'm pressing good, so it doesn't move while I'm making my line. So I'm just gonna make a line all the way down. Okay, and now we're going to measure out our squares, and we're going to include our gutter in our measurements. Okay, so I'm going to make a mark at 1 inch. Okay, and I'm going to make another mark at maybe, let's see, let me see what this works out to be. Okay, so we're going to make a mark at 1 inch, and then we're going to make a mark at 4 inches. And that's going to be our first square. Mark at 1 inch and 4 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to show you where the next mark is going to be, because we have to leave a little gutter. So here's our 4 inches. We're right here. Okay, and we're going to make a mark at 4 1/4 inches right here. So there's like, if you count the little lines, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 little lines. Okay, that's going to be our next mark. It's 4 1/4 inches. Okay, and then when you set your ruler back down, make another 3 inches, so it's going to be at 7 1/4. So there's 7, and then this mark right here. 4 little marks at 7. So you guys can make your squares whatever size. And then we gotta make a gutter. Okay, so we're marking at 7 1/4 and 7 1/2. If you guys aren't following, let me know, okay? So you guys got that? 7 1/4 and then 7 1/2, which is the next taller mark. It's going to be 8 little marks for the 7. It's halfway between 7 and 8. Okay, and then our final mark is going to be at 10 1/2. Wait, is that right? at 10.5, which is this mark right here, halfway between 10 and 11. Okay, mark right here.
We don't need that really either.
Okay, and those are going to mark how wide my boxes and my gutter is going to be. Okay. So then you can start to draw your squares, your lines down. At those marks.
Madeline got kicked off.
Okay.
So she may need just like a quick review. Madeline, what was the last thing you saw, sweetheart?
All I just saw is just glitching a little, and then for some reason it logged me off.
Yeah.
I didn't see me have them do the lessons or anything.
Okay,
Matt.
you see, yeah. Can you see what
Right now,
Jessica's done?
we're drawing our little squares for our comic strip. We're just doing 3 squares. Okay, so the first thing to do is to draw this top line. And the way I do that is I just set my ruler up against this like serrated edge, you know, this part where you can tear your paper out. Just like make a lot so that I could tell that my ruler was straight. So I made my box 3 inches. Everyone else who was following along. You want to give yourself plenty of room to draw. Yeah, I just line it up with that edge so that I know my ruler's straight. And I hold my ruler down really well. I kind of push down on it so it doesn't move. And I just draw a line all the way along. So you guys have your boxes drawn. You guys can go ahead and start drawing out your comic strip. Okay, and then I made a mark, Mom, at 1 inch.
Okay.
At 4 inches. At 4 1/4 inches. At 7 1/4 inches. At 7 1/2. And at 10 1/2. And then from those marks, I just drew some straight lines down.
Okay.
So it looks like that. And do your comic strip where it's across like this. Or you can draw another line in the middle to kind of divide it into 3 squares. So where your comic strip would read across like this. Whichever way you prefer. If you want drawing room, you can just do the long rectangles.
Eastern census. What they got their face shields on. Inside the house.
So when we're drawing, we start to draw with our pencil, okay? And then once we got everything the way we want it, then we can go over it with our pens. Okay, so maybe start drawing out your ideas in pencil. Like for you, Madeline, you might want to draw the beat, maybe some keys on the playground. And right now, it can be 6 figures. There are some comics that are literally just figures, and they're very famous. So people don't have to be amazing or anything, okay? So just do your best. Tomorrow, we're going to go over a little bit more on how to draw your character a little bit more in detail. Okay, so but for today, don't worry too much about it, okay?
No.
When you have your eraser, you can erase anything you don't like. How are you doing, Nick?
Good.
Good. Did you figure out a setting for your character?
No.
If you could be your character and you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I don't know.
Would you go to Disneyland?
Definitely not.
No. Would you go to a baseball game? Maybe you would go to a gaming convention.
What about something made up, Nick? Like an imaginary place. Like a place that's just something that you've created.
Don't get too hung up on making sure
Yeah.
that this is perfect. Okay, because we can always adjust things.
That's why we got big erasers.
Yeah, and this is just kind of like a practice run today, just to kind of get our ideas flowing and kind of give us some practice with creating a story. Okay, so don't put too much pressure on yourself to get this right. Just have fun with it. That's the main thing. It's just to have fun. Just experiment. Have any ideas come to you?
No.
All right.
It'd be very hard to write down and talk about it.
What was that, Madeline?
It's a little hard to comic books because we need to write it down and stuff.
Yeah, it is. You're creating it by yourself, and so it can be hard, huh?
Yeah, it wouldn't be easier.
But I have faith in you guys. You have amazing imaginations. So I know that you can figure it out. And it doesn't have to be
Perfect.
perfect, exactly. It really doesn't.
Yeah. And this can just be your first idea, you know? Like when you're a storyteller, there are lots of different drafts of your story. There's lots of different versions. Like where you start is it's not where you end up. So right now, it's important to just get everything down on paper. Like it's just a starting off point. It's not the end. And anybody who's ever done anything creative professionally will tell you that you got to do a lot of different versions of something sometimes. It's rare that you put something down on paper and whoever you're working for is like, perfect, we're done here. That never happens.
No, it doesn't, especially with art.
It's good practice to just get something down on paper and know that it's just a starting off point.
At my school, a lot of books that I did, and I wanted it like a really big.
What was that, Crocker? I'm sorry, you guys, you froze a little bit.
I want to make a really big book, like a really big font.
A really big one?
Mhm.
Okay. That's cool with me. If that's cool with you, that's cool with me.
No, work on this every day.
So I want to show you guys what I'm starting on. I know that because of where my story takes place, it's in the park and there's a birthday party. So I want to kind of create the setting. All right, and I have my balloon, Jello, and I need to have flowers because he wants to smell the flowers. Okay, he's a curious balloon. All right, so that's kind of like my setting. All the things in my story are right there. Okay, I might need to add some more things, details, maybe a background, but it can really be just that simple.
in prison?
I finished.
Early prison?
Let's see it, Nick. Let's see what you got.
I didn't do it on Chester. I did it on the turnips. That.
Oh man,
Oh, awesome. That is looking so good already.
Yeah. It's looking
I didn't
really
really
good.
plan a setting though, so.
That's okay. It could literally just be in a house. So that's okay. Like in this comic book, there's literally just a floor and a wall. So we know it's inside. It could just be inside.
Hey, so Jess, so Chris is a writer, the Cannon Boy's dad, and he was just showing us, I think, meeting is a little glitchy today, how many ideas he has to go through.
Oh, wow, really?
Just like, yeah, to get things done.
Yeah.
What an awesome resource we have. Like somebody who has to deal with the creative process professionally.
Yeah. That is awesome.
It looks like a delay, but I was just going to say, so just to get one idea, I've already written down 5 pages of thoughts, that's 700 words. That's just to get one idea for an
Yeah,
Oh.
it takes a while.
Yeah.
And in college, right, in my major, which was design, they talk about the funnel, right? Like you start out with everything, all these ideas, and then you start to like funnel it down into one idea. And so like this week is going to be a lot of that, like all your ideas, how do I make it cohesive? How do I make it make sense? But you need to write all these ideas down because it might come in handy for something later.
Yeah. Yeah, everything I draw, I keep because I may not use it right now, but later on, I might find a good use for it. Oh, that's looking great, Madeline. Love it. I love that you guys are just going for it. Okay, so after you guys get a scene or all of it, even the way you want it, you can start outlining with these great pens. So there are different sizes and different outline thicknesses can mean different things. You might want to do the outline of your panel in a thicker marker, and then you could do the other ones in these finer markers. Okay, this is 9 point, and this is probably a little bit bigger. This one's a little bit bigger, and this gray one is a fine point. Okay, and these pens are great because they won't bleed and they won't smear. The Sharpie might bleed. This one. I haven't tried out this one, but you guys can practice with your Sharpies. I know that this one should be fine. And then go over them with your marker and see if they bleed. Do you know if you should do your marker first or your pen first? Let me just try that real quick. And sometimes you have to let it dry just a bit before you go over it. So I'm going to use this one, the black one, and then I'm going over with this marker. Let me get see if it's bleeding. So we don't want to smear our black lines. So this one is going to be great for outlining because it's not going to smear. And I put the marker on right after. Okay, so this one is a little thicker than the first one. And it doesn't seem to smear either. Okay, so I would just outline first, and then you can color in your comic. Let me see about this one. Okay, they all seem really good. Okay, and I would love to see how you finish them tomorrow. And remember that you can have a scene that shows everything, and then I can zoom in on this same scene, okay? So you can zoom in and out of your scene to give more perspectives. So yeah, just have fun. Just have fun with it. I'm excited to see it.
Great to see everybody's ideas. Like, I gotta say, like, this is one of my favorite classes because I love the things that come out of your brains. I just want to know what's up in that imagination. So just let it run wild. The weirder, the better.
It's looking so
And
good,
get
Natalie.
a little bit closer for us.
A little closer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's fantastic, Madeline. Oh, you guys knocked this out of the park. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yep. Okay, thanks guys for playing with me today.
Yes. We'll see you all tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, tomorrow we'll go over our characters a little bit more.
Awesome. Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye guys.